As far as military simulators go, I've yet to find something I've sunk more time into than Escape from Tarkov. Described as one of the very first extraction shooters of its kind, this hardcore and realistic shooter features some of the most thrilling and adrenaline-inducing gameplay I've ever played. Taking place in a fictional region of northern Russia, you play as one of two private military contractors stuck in the middle of a war in the region of Tarkov, being sealed off from the outside world and determined to escape or die trying. Survive and take care of your own character, fending off starvation between gunfights, where one small cut can mean death if left untreated, and one bullet can turn you into just another dead body to search. As an expansion to the same universe, Battlestate Games, the same people behind Escape from Tarkov, released an expansion that shines light on some of the other sides of the region. This is Escape from Tarkov Arena, a more light and less intense way to experiment on the gunplay and movement in the base game without the risk of losing your gear due to a guy in a corner. While not as popular as its predecessor, it still feels enjoyable to just run around and try out different guns and find out what works best for you. Players face off against each other in different game modes across different parts of the city of Tarkov, getting rewarded with more gear and currency from the organizer, Ref, a trader from the base game. With all this being said, I've yet to see really anybody talk more about the lore that is Arena, and I would like to share a prominent character that you may have even heard of. This is Voron. Voron is somewhat of an unknown character within the universe of Tarkov, with little information that paints a very vague picture on who this can be. We can find him mentioned in the tutorial of Arena, being the Killbox record holder.
We'll skip the drama, but I still need to know what you're worth. So, you ready? You need to hit all the targets as quickly as possible. Slash them with a knife, for all I care. You've got one attempt. Let's see if you can break Voron's record of 15 seconds. Good luck. By the way, if you're running low, there are extra supplies to the right of the laptop. Let's go! Well, you're an athlete. Was it the adrenaline rush? You might want to fight for the championship title now. You're the new Killbox record holder! Voron will be fucking furious. Fine. I wanted to wrap this up, but there's one more.
We can also find him in various descriptions of some items. The first and one I believe that you may know is the Voron's hideout key, a key that you can get through Ref through a barter of Liga Metal and GP coins, currency from doing the quests in Arena. This key is a 5-use key that is held on shoreline inside the hydroelectric power station near the health resort. This key can give you a good amount of loot, but mainly weapons, modification, and gear that relate to Arena. This key does little to give us information, with its description giving us at least a little bit more insight on who it can be. A key that opens the room, located somewhere near the health resort, belonged to one of the Arena Gladiators by the name Voron. Learning this, we can find that Voron was associated with Arena, becoming a well-known gladiator, and that he had his very own hideout that you can rob. And that's all the key tells us. That being said, there's still one item that directly calls Voron out, and it's a good one. This is the APOC Tactical Wasteland Gladius, the longest sword that you can get through doing the Two Great Heights quest line, with a description of this badass melee stating, the Tactical Wasteland Gladius Sword, manufactured by APOC, Arena's champion's prime melee weapon. Rumors are that this is the exact blade that the gladiator Voron used to fight with, or at least it looks like one. This tells us that Voron is known enough to become a legendary gladiator, with rumors of his battles being enough to have a replica be made of his weapon. Yet that's all the game gives us through descriptions, not really giving us a clear answer to who this can possibly be, and not really telling us more on who Voron really was. However, Voron is still mentioned in other ways, with places like the wiki sharing at least a little bit more on this gladiator. There was an unlockable shirt by the name Rash Guard Voron, but this isn't anything really special, just being another extra cosmetic through the Arena Battle Pass. There's also a note called Note with the code word Voron, which is an item required to take a special extract on the map Customs, but the description on this item just states, it seems that Voron is some kind of cipher or code. If someone has manipulated the exfils from Customs, they must have left access only for their own. The question is, where are those exits? So seemingly not really related to the Arena Gladiator. We can find that there are two cases of Voron being an enemy that you can face from the base game, with one instance being that of a guard from Glukar, and another being the name of Raider Scav in Labs. However, there's no special clothing or item on either of them, so maybe the Gladiator quit and joined a different gang after winning the arena. With all this being said, there's still one last mention that is a Voron, and this is the one that gives us the most information on who it could really be. Not only did Battlestate Games make these two games that share the story of Tarkov, on their YouTube, you can find a short series of episodes that take place within the same universe. Specifically in that of the Raid series, we can finally get a face to the name.
На место скифа. Держи задний выход на железку.
Пойму, только лениво не услышат. Ну что, закусываемся или валим?
Всем держать.
This is Voron, of which we immediately find out in the opening of the episode, being an ally and squad mate of the protagonist, Skip. We see him being a very useful teammate and assisting the party in what looks like a skirmish. In fact,
Держу слева сзади. Хороший ответ.
where he sacrifices himself to help Skiff survive the battle that wipes his whole team. So, that wraps up everything I was able to find on Voron. While we do have a face to the name, it doesn't really exactly tell us who the gladiator we know from Arena, and if these characters are even related in the first place. If you want my personal theory, I believe that Voron is a well-known gladiator making a name for himself within the arena. Maybe he's even the very pre-made class we play for Enforcer. Yet, this also seems unlikely, since he does not sport the melee weapon that Voron does. I believe that his hideout was a place where he would stash his earnings made inside the arena, and where he would recuperate in time between battles. Maybe he became a guard, or maybe a scav, but I don't personally believe either of them to be him. I believe that he's still inside the arena, making a name for himself, or is maybe a teacher of some sort with his relation to the tutorial. I also don't believe that the Voron from the Raid series to be him either, you know, with him being dead and all that. But please, let me know what you guys think, and share if you guys like me to research more on these characters. Thanks again for 500 subscribers. I really didn't think a simple comment would give me that, honestly. A one. This has no reason to have that many likes. I'd like to make more if you guys want to listen, so please let me know. And thank you again.